I'm gonna go over the Titans and Saints game. This is the final preseason week for the Saints, and I'm gonna do a rundown of the my predicted 53 man roster, as well as some practice squad guys, and one other guy we'll get into. But a quick rundown of some stuff, some scores, turnovers, all that during the Titans and Saints game. This was in New Orleans. First quarter, Titans running back Tony Pollard ran in a 1 yard touchdown. Seemed like the Titans were playing most of their starters to begin the game, while the Saints didn't play any starters. Second quarter, Titans kicker Nick Folk kicked a 39-yard field goal. Saints quarterback Spencer Rattler threw a 21-yard touchdown to wide receiver Equinemius St. Brown, which was an absolute dime. Titans kicker Braden Narvison, I might pronounce that wrong, but uh, I I've I've heard it so many times, don't really know how to pronounce it. The game just ended, by the way, so I'm recording this immediately after. This is my immediate reactions. Um, he kicked a 26-yard field goal. Saints kicker Blake Grupe kicked a 54-yard field goal. Narvison came back and missed a 58-yard field goal as time was expiring in the first half. We'll get to what happened right after that. Um, Titans led at halftime 13-10. Third quarter on the opening drive, Saints linebacker Monty Rice forced a fumble on Titans running back Jabari Small, and Saints safety Millard Bradford recovered at the Titans 31-yard line. Blake Grupe kicked a 38-yard field goal, and Braden Narvison kicked a 31-yard field goal. Fourth quarter, Saints running back Jacob Cabody ran in an 11-yard touchdown. Titans quarterback Malik Willis threw a 34-yard touchdown to wide receiver Bryce Oliver. Jacob Cabody came back again and scored a 2-yard touchdown run, and Malik Willis threw a 5-yard touchdown to Bryce Oliver to essentially win the game. Titans won 30-27. So, in a quick overview, Jake Haener opened up the game at quarterback along with all players who are on the cusp of making the 53-man roster. Some coaches will put in these guys and others will put in starters to get them ready for 2 weeks from now. Um, Looks like the Saints were pretty comfortable, I guess, with their starters. I kind of felt the opposite. I feel like most of the guys who are starters should have played in this game. Titans seem to open up with a majority of starters, like I said. Not Malik Willis. Will Levis came in. Tony Pollard was in. Calvin Ridley was in. Mostly starters. Spencer Rattler started the second quarter, so Haener started the first. Rattler started the second. Jordan Mims looks like a solid running back. As a third running back, he's had some low moments, but some pretty solid moments overall. And when it comes to 53-man roster, I think he's done enough to put his hand in the workload. Um, Rattler made a beautiful throw to Equinemius St. Brown for a touchdown on third and long. Um, I saw him winding up to throw, and I knew right away where he was going, and I knew right away it was going to be a great pass, and it was. Um, that was an amazing touchdown. I haven't seen many of those passes in a while. It was a little predetermined, but because nobody was in the area from the Titans defense, it made it look amazing. Jonathan Abram continues to be this liability on defense and coverage. Yeah, he made one pretty good play in coverage on a receiver in the slot, but he allowed back-to-back third downs um, that the Saints really could have gotten off the field, but I don't understand. I don't understand. I mean, I liked Abram when he was coming out of college. I liked him when he was on the Raiders, but I think since then he has significantly dropped in value. I don't see the value of keeping him on this roster. Um, Saints wide receiver return specialist Samson Nakua returned The missed field goal at the end of the first half, he returned that 106 yards and was ruled out of bounds at the 3 yard line. Um, yeah. So that was I was yelling at the TV. I was saying go Nakua, no go Nakua. Um uh I mean, I don't know if that necessarily sparked his possibility of making the 53-man roster or not. I don't know if maybe the Saints already have their mind made up on him, but I think that play proved that he's got value at special teams. Um he might have ran like over 150 yards in total running around the entire field. Sucks he got pushed out at the 3 yard line, but it was a great play nonetheless. Jake Haener opened up the second half at quarterback, so constant flip-flopping between Rattler, Haener. I think Rattler showed success in the second quarter that Haener didn't show any in the first, so you had to throw Haener back in, see what he could do. Um, there was a holding call on tackle Josiah Ezram, and it negated a touchdown from Haener to A.T. Perry. It was probably one of the better throws Haener made, but it sucks that there was a holding call that led to a field goal instead of a touchdown following the fumble at the first the first drive of the second half. Penalties just continued to hammer the Saints. I know I'm gonna probably complain about it all year long that Dennis Allen can't control this team in terms of disciplining them to not force these penalties. It's just it sucks. It sucks seeing it because it's stupid stuff all the time that's happening. It's holdings, it's offsides, it's just the silliest things. Um, but they also hammered the Titans a little in the fourth quarter, so I mean, happens, I guess. Uh, Jacob Kabodi at running back. In the fourth quarter, he opened up with on the opening drive for him. He ran 7 carries for 50 yards and a touchdown. Um, he instantly led the Saints in rushing after one drive. Um, he looked really good. He was fighting. He was consistently fighting, and I mean, I wish we got more time to see out of him. I don't understand why he didn't get. I question some of Dennis Allen's philosophies on coaching, but oh well, I'm behind a camera and he's the head coach of the Saints, so yeah, take that as you will. Um, the amount of drops in this game concerned me. It was to the point that I wrote down, could this force a trade for Ayuk? And I don't want Brandon Ayuk. I think I've never really been a big fan of Brandon Ayuk. I think he's a beneficiary of a great offense. Um, I think he benefits more for the the talent around him than Brock Purdy does. Um, and there was just so many drops. It was ruining Rattler and Hayner, frankly. There was balls right in the numbers, right in the chest, right in the hands, and just dropped. I don't. What else do you want to do? Um, Rattler, he connected with A.T. Perry for a 43-yard completion in the red zone that set up Cabote's his second touchdown. And Rattler Rattler just continues to look really good. Um, he I don't think nobody in any of the broadcasts talk about, oh, could Rattler be the future? Um could Rattler compete with Derek Carr? And I think at some point you got to. Hayner came in the game with under 3 minutes left. If they wanted to win the game, I think Rattler would have been in there. But I think putting Hayner into the game with under 3 minutes left was Dennis Allen's way of saying, "Hey, buddy, you lost the QB2 job, but if you can pull something together and pull out a win and look good to finish this game, then maybe we can and keep this competition going into the regular season." But no, Hayner struggled and single-handedly gave the Titans the ball back very quickly. So to go and score the touchdown that would ultimately lose the Saints the game. There was two penalties on the kickoff immediately following the touchdown. Both were on Michael Jacobson. They kept talking about how he has a basketball background. I don't care. He couldn't block. He had the false start. I get the false start. It's gonna happen to every team with this new kickoff rules. I get that. As soon as the kicker kicked the ball, your instinct is to like turn around, or to move. And he knew right away. So I get that. But the holding call, like, dude, just don't hold your guy. It's better to just let it. Just don't do that. Just don't. Um, so back-to-back penalties on Michael Jacobson. Uh, there was terrible clock management by Dennis Allen if he wanted to try and win that game. I mean, you had a handoff on the last drive, and I don't think he wanted to win necessarily. I think he was just more seeing what players can do. Which, speaking of that, I'll get into my 53-man roster prediction. Um, Start with offense. Taysom Hill's making this team. I wrote down athlete because I mean you could call him a quarterback, running back, fullback, wide receiver, tight end, special teamer. It doesn't matter. Um, Derek Carr's making this team. Spencer Rattler's making this team. I do think Jake Haener makes this team. I think the coaches seem to have. I don't think the coaches see like what I'm seeing out of Rattler. Like what I see out of Rattler is, wow, this guy looks really good. He looks impressive. I think the competition's a little closer between Hayner and Rattler. So I do think Hayner stays on this team as quarterback three. Running backs, Alvin Kamara is staying. Jamal Williams, I do think he stays, even though he's been a little disappointing. It's possible he explodes maybe or does better, being that this is a new scheme. I don't know. Uh, my running back three, this was tough. I think it's going to be Jordan Mims. It just seems like he got more attention in all the preseason games. James Robinson had some good plays here and there, but he wasn't as consistent as Mims was. Uh, and Cabote finished this game so well that I thought he needs to make the 53-man roster, and he really does. I hope he does. I hope I'm wrong and he makes the 53-man roster. Uh, it's just terrible timing because everybody has all the tape throughout all of preseason, and Cabote shows up and sparks and does great things at the end. So, maybe push some recency bias to get Cabote in. I don't know. Uh, Adam Prentice is going to be the fullback. I am not a fan of Adam Prentice at fullback. I think there are more. I think there are better fullbacks out there. Frankly, there are a lot of fullbacks aren't used enough, and the teams that use them that aren't your 49ers with Juszczyk or your Ravens with Ricard, your top fullbacks, any other team that uses fullbacks but doesn't have those just says, all right, let's just grab a fullback and call it a day. All you gotta do is know the playbook and you'll be our fullback. But there's a difference, there's a skill gap between your top tier and Prentice. Prentice just doesn't seem like he fits the fullback mold. He looks like more of a blocking tight end back there at fullback. So I know he played a little tight end, so I guess that makes sense. But I think there are better fullbacks out there. Wide receivers, Chris Olave is making it, Rashid Shaheed's making it. After that, it was some bumps in the road. I think A.T. Perry makes it. A.T. Perry has shown time and time again that he has potential, and I'm really excited if he gets to play with Spencer Rattler. I don't know if Derek Carr will necessarily make him a better receiver. Cedric Wilson. I don't like Cedric Wilson, but he's more than not making this team. Bub Means rookie, he's gonna make the team, even though he's shown some issues here and there. He's gonna make the team. I think there's going to be a sixth wide receiver. Um, I contemplated a lot between Samson Nakua and Stanley Morgan Jr. I'm going Samson Nakua. Maybe it's recency bias, but his ability on special teams is what's helping him out. Um, Tight ends, Jawan Johnson's making it, Foster Moreau's making it, and I think Dallin Hawker. I'm probably butchering that name. He didn't even suit up in the game, so my assumption is he's made the roster already. Those are three tight ends. I'm pretty set on those. Offensive line. Um, Tackles, I got four tackles. Guards, I have four guards. I have one center, and mostly because there are a couple guys who could also play center that are guards. Talise Fuaga, tackle, rookie, first rounder, obviously. Trevor Penning, I do think he makes it, even though he's definitely this project. I think maybe in the right system, maybe in the right team, maybe with the right coach, he could be an asset. It's just he's got issues here and there that need to be fixed. Landon Young, I think, makes it, and Ali Udo, I think he makes it. So I think those are the tackles. I don't think there it would be a surprise. If I think it would be a little bit of a surprise if it's someone outside of there that makes it. Guards, Cesar Ruiz is definitely making it. Nick Saldiveri, he's definitely making it. He might get, but his injury is questionable because his injury is leading to possibly Lucas Patrick starting over him. So I think Lucas Patrick also makes the team. He might start the season at guard. Uh, Kyle Hergel, I do have as the final guard on this team. And then Eric McCoy's gonna obviously be the center. So Kyle Hergel is probably the one guy that I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. It just seems like the offensive line is an issue for me just because I don't like the offensive line. I think there are a lot of issues. Hopefully Fuaga fixes that. Fuaga and Penning may if Penning can play to his potential and Fuaga can be the guy we drafted him to be, I think that will benefit the Saints so much. And that's the difference between this team getting 5 wins or 11 wins. All right, on to the defense though. Defensive ends, Cameron Jordan's making it, Chase Young's making it, Carl Granderson's making it. Isaiah Foskey hasn't looked very good until this game, the Titans game. The Titans game, he showed some promise here and there, a couple good plays. Peyton Turner was one of the last guys I added to the 53 man. I don't know if he's gonna make it or not. Um, I always mispronounce his name. To know Passingyo. I'm probably butchering his name. He's on the pup list, so he's not going to be on here. In fact, there's a couple guys on the pup list. Um, Nefi Sewell also is on the pup list at linebacker. It's possible he's more than likely going to make the team. Um, On to defensive tackles. I think this is one of the most straightforward positions. Kalen Saunders is making it. Brian Bresee is making it. Nathan Shefford is making it. Christian Boyd's making it. I think that's pretty solid. I don't see them going any other route. Linebackers. I am very intrigued by the whole linebacker situation outside of the the big two. So Demario Davis is making it, obviously. Willie Gay's making it. He just signed, obviously. I would have Pete Warner's making it, and I believe Anthony Orgy's making it. Anthony Orgy has played great during the preseason, so I'm expecting him to make it. I have DeMarco Jackson making it as the final linebacker. It's possible that he doesn't, or he goes to IR because he's currently injured. There's other linebackers we can go with, but right now I'm going to go DeMarco Jackson. I think in camp he looked good. They kind of had high hopes for him. He was starting a little bit here and there, and I think there's potential for what they want to do with him, but his injury was ill-timed. Now for I think is the most exciting position, corner. Big four are definitely making it. Marshawn Lattimore, Paulson Adebo, Alontae Taylor, Kool-Aid McKinstry. Kool-Aid's hurt, but he'll be fine. Five, I have Rico Payton. I think Rico Payton doing significantly better than all the other corners. I think he deserves to be on this team. I'd be very disappointed if he didn't make this team. He should be on the practice squad if he didn't make this team. Safeties is the worst. Tyrann Matthews making it. JT Gray's a special teamer, so he's making it. And he's one of the best special teamers in the whole league. After that, I don't know. Will Harris, I have Will Harris, Jordan Howden, and Jonathan Abram making it. Don't like any of them so far in camp or in games. I'm very disappointed that the Saints didn't go out and get another safety. I Justin Simmons wouldn't. I don't. There were other needs in Justin Simmons's contract. I didn't like that. So I know people are gonna say, "Oh, well, you could have had Justin Simmons." That's not really who I was going for. Matthew and Simmons are two ball hawks. I wanted someone who's great in run support, and that's not what Simmons is. So I don't know. There's probably better safeties available on the market, so hopefully they go and sign one and cut one of these guys. But special teamers, Blake Grupe, I do have him winning the kicker battle, and Lou Headley, I do have him winning the punter battle. Um, I do think Charlie Smith played very well, and I think he gave Grupe a run for his money. And I have Charlie Smith making the practice squad. I think he deserves to be on the practice squad. I mean, he deserves to go kick somewhere else if he wanted to. Zach Wood's the final guy on the 53-man roster, definitely making it a long snapper. Uh, the one question mark I had was Kendre Miller, if he was going to make it running back. Um, Dennis Allen has had some odd words to say about one of his players, and it was Kendre Miller. It just doesn't seem like he likes him at all. And I guess he's complaining about him being hurt and not knowing the playbook because he's been hurt. He might start the year on IR. I don't know. It's possible he's cut. It's possible he makes a 53-man roster. If that's the case, Mims would probably be the one cut. I don't like that idea considering Kendre Miller hasn't played much. And practice squad guys, I have a couple here. It's not a full list. Charlie Smith, Jacob Kabodi, Shamar Jean Charles at corner. I think out of all the corners after Rico Payton, Jean Charles probably showed more promise, and Stanley Morgan Jr. Nakua and Morgan Jr. I think are rotatable. If you told me one of them makes the team and the other makes the practice squad, I would be okay with it. I just think Nakua is more likely to land somewhere else than Stanley Morgan Jr. So that's my predictions on the that's my predictions on the 53-man roster for the Saints. Um, this team in general doesn't, on paper, not a great team. Defensively, I love the defense outside of safety. I think I think the edge rushers are solid. I personally like Carl Granderson more than I like Chase Young. I don't like rotating this group in. I just want to see more of them just consistently playing well. Defensive tackle group is awesome. I think it's one of the most underrated in the whole league. Brissy needs to start. Brissy just looks so good. Demario Davis and Pete Warner are amazing. Willie Gay is there now. Anthony Orgy looked pretty good. And this cornerback group is awesome. I hope Marshawn Lattimore stays. And I hope he doesn't get traded. This is a deep cornerback group. If he were to get traded, I would understand. But if he gets traded, it better be for a first round pick or a skill player, someone good, not Ayuk. Yeah, I love the corners from Lattimore all the way to Rico Payton. And safety is the one big issue is who's going to line up next to Matthew. In my opinion, if I'm the coach, Kool-Aid has history of playing slot. I think he could I think he can transition well to playing safety next to Matthew. Um, I'd be curious to see what Alontae Taylor would look like at safety. But you're deep at corner, not deep at safety. Have one of those guys try to transition, see if they can transition to safety and play next to Matthew, because that could make their careers last even longer. And then you have a guy to take over for Matthew when he retires. So that's that's my issue. Offense. Um, Derek Carr, I know, is the now. Spencer Rattler, in my opinion, is the future after what I've seen out of him. Um, I want to. I'm give. I think Derek Carr deserves to start week one. Uh, is he more skilled than Rattler? No, but he's smart, and I think I think he just deserves to be the starter. If we see old Derek Carr, I'm gonna love it, and I think it will be awesome to see him and Rattler learn from him. If we're seeing Carr from last year, then I will push for Rattler to start over Carr. Um, Kamara always plays great. Taysom Hill always plays great. Jamal Williams, hopefully he can be that. He doesn't need to statistically be that guy he was in Detroit. He just needs to be a great rotational guy for Kamara. Receivers, Olave is going to play well. Rashid Shaheed should have a breakout year. Jawan Johnson is probably a key in this offense. If he has a great season, then I think it'll bleed into the rest of the groups. Um, and it really all comes down to will the offensive line play well? And the offensive line, Ruiz has been inconsistent. McCoy is obviously one of the best centers in the whole league. If the left guard position needs to be the worst position on this team. And Fuaga and Penning, if they can just play to their potential and be a good up and coming tackle group, same way that Seattle had a couple years ago, when they drafted Cross and forget the other guy. But you get what I'm saying, that two young tackles, they don't need to play all pro levels, but they just need to play solid. This offensive line is so important and an important part to how successful this team is. Um, and it might be why ends up being the starter because he's more mobile than Carr is, and he'll be able to make those plays that Carr can't. So I'm I'm hoping for a good year. I think at best this team can be like an 11-win team, but at worst if someone gets hurt, Kamara, Olave, if one of those guys gets hurt, this defense could not play well, and this whole season could fall apart for the Saints. So, um, that's the video. Couple more weeks until week one, and there's my 53 man roster prediction. So I'll see you next time.